Alright, I had seen something. YouTube was telling me something, but I thought it was something bad. They were just giving helpful information. How was everybody weekend as we set up? How was everybody weekend? What is good with everybody? It's been crazy out here. Um, excuse me. Let's go. Yes, I am live. Yes, I am live. Do I have any emails? Nope. Let me go to my. What I need to go to? First, I need to go to the control room right quick, guys. As we set up. Live screen. Control room. Set this up. There you go. Alright, disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of the creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Alright, so let's do that. Let's close that out. Let's get started. We got a few things to talk about though. As always, it's always something, man. It's always something, never a dull. It'd be dull on them Fridays sometimes, higher education, but it's always something. So first thing is first. It's August 11th already. I feel like we just stepped in August. So early decision admissions is in serious trouble. Apparently, guys, they're in serious trouble, according to Chronicle of Higher Education. So what I found was that they said right here, so they had something that happened with research universities, something about that. I'll probably work backwards in this because you know me, I feel like I need to tell you things that's going to help you. Like, help you. Like, this will probably be, since school is getting ready to ramp up, you still might have some kids not going to school yet because of everything going on. So some people might chose to not go to school this semester. Some might go in the fall. Some not fall. Some might go in the spring, or some might wait till fall 2026. But right, this is early decision. Applicants agree to attend a college if they are admitted. So came Friday, a cherry on the top, as Chronicle Education said, an antitrust lawsuit from 4 current and former college students. So 4 current and former college students alleged that 32 highly selective private universities violate the antitrust law with their use of early decision. Now, if you've been watching this on the live stream, guys, we have been talking about early decision a little bit, and this is crazy. This is happening. So, where is it? First, I want to know antitrust lawsuit. I seen antitrust a couple of times when we were live streaming, but I didn't say anything about it because I'm like, well, if I see it, then da da da. But I see this word often, more often than not. So I'm gonna Google it real quick. Cause I don't got no law people in the chat yet. So an antitrust lawsuit, also known as a competition lawsuit. Oh, also known as a competition lawsuit, is a legal action filed against a company or companies accused of violating antitrust laws. These laws aim to promote fair competition and prevent monopolies or other practices that restrain trade, ultimately protecting consumers and the economy. I did not know that. me make a copy of that. Hey, thank you. So as we keep going, it says right here, early decision applicants agree to attend college if they are admitted. Critics have long argued that this favors students from wealthy families who can afford to pick a college without seeing financial aid packages on weighing competing offers. I didn't know it was for the wealthy. I didn't know it tailored more to the wealthy. I think when people say everything tailors to the wealthy, I think everything can tailor to the wealthy. In some cases, if you put something in perspective, if you want to use that, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I guess that's anybody's validation, right? But if you want to say everything tailors to the wealthy, you can literally say everything tailors to the wealthy because like you can say like, oh, if you make college more affordable, it helps the wealthy. If you make college more expensive, that tailors to the wealthy because like everything can be tailored to the wealthy in my opinion. I'm not saying it's not justifiable, but I don't really think that's because I thought when I seen early decision, I thought it was good if you got admitted early because if you know your school, in my perspective, if you know your school, right, like since freshman year you want to go to this school, no matter if they're doing good, they're doing bad, whatever. You just want to go to this school because your parents went to this school. In some cases with people, it's a win-win. That's where you want to go, right? And so, oh my gosh, where is it? Hold on, right quick. Hold on, some drop. Okay. All right. You just know that's where you want to go. Good. Okay. You know that's just where you want to go. And so, I don't know. Let's keep going. Still filling this out because it's still more information, of course. So, such rules entrench patterns of inequality of access while inflating the price of attendance. The lawsuit alleges it says collective enforcement of early decision agreement cuts down competition in the higher ed market. It says this strikes at a key strategy for selective colleges trying to adapt to other pressures. Jeff Salingo, if I said that right, a former Chronicle editor, recently predicted that colleges will rely more heavily on early decision to protect revenue and yield rates. So, guys, when I say everything comes into like finance and like they said, protect revenue, yield rates, it's crazy. Like higher level plays being made. So like they revenue could be getting hit because somebody's telling them to like because early decision they're going to talk about it. But remember, if you watched this before, we spoke on it before because University of Michigan did and actually mentioned that if a school early admits you or gives you an early decision, they say that you have to dump your other schools. You can't compare like the financial aid and like nothing. You just gotta dump all your other schools and you're going to this school. And I did say if I go back and get a clip, I did say that wasn't a good idea with early decision because you don't want to be stuck with one school. I did say that. You always want to have multiple options. You never want to get stuck with all your eggs in one basket in anything. You never want to do that. And then if you do, you need to be for sure or certain that this is going to work out well. But they have other layers of it that you can have other options. But I think the downfall, don't quote me, I think the downfall was that if you did the other options, you probably wouldn't get as much money as an early decision. So it says right here, indeed, the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, as everybody knows, University of Michigan, the Wolverines, Michigan Wolverines, blue and yellow, plan to add an early decision round. Furman University also, we just talked about them. Furman University announced perks to encourage students to apply through the process. So I'm gonna click on this article because it's an article link to it, and I think this is a person who works at it. No, this person works for themselves, I think. So good evening, thanks for reading the nets. Thanks for reading that. Oh, you live earlier. A little bit, G. What's good with you, G? This is by Jeff Salingo. So we're going to go through this real quick. G, what's good with you? How was your weekend? Yeah, we got the gym at 7-ish. So had to jump on a little early. So I hit the gym on time. I think we'll be finished around that time. G said, I won't be able to be here today, though. Business or family takes you. I get it. I understand life. I'm good, though. It was great. That's good. How was yours? My weekend was pretty good. I did a lot. I spent like all day researching. Saturday. Or was it Sunday? I spent all day one of them days researching. No, Saturday researching. Sunday editing. And then I gotta do some more editing. And then G said, let's see what G said. G said, just a little too early for me today. Yeah, my bad. Once I start working, G, you'll be able to catch me on that nighttime schedule for sure. So then you'll be able to catch me a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna be on it at nighttime. And so as we keep going, so from there, I'm going to stop before I go to the next one. Before I go to another session. Let's go to Jeff Salingo. I think that's their name, Jeff Salingo. But Jeff Salingo used to be an editor at the Chronicle Higher Education. So let's see what he's talking about, or Jeff talking about. Enjoy screen. Enjoy screen. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, enjoy screen. Okay. Let's see what Jeff is talking about. I don't know Jeff, but they're talking about missions, I think. Okay. Yeah, it said Jeff Salingo. All right, G. See you. Peace. Chicken grease. Be safe. So Jeff was talking about all of this. When did Jeff write all this? Jeff wrote this July 14th? No? You gotta put some dates on it. Alright. Let's see. I want to find what they're talking about. Mission. Peace, chicken grease. I guess the whole thing. Alright. So they've been talking about computer science too. Has the bubble burst in computer science? This is what Jeff was speculating. Interesting. All right, let's go to the admission section in here because I know I've seen it. Actually, direct admissions. Let's go direct admissions. I mean, is it direct admissions? Early decision. Let's see if that's in here. Okay, there you go. All right, perfect. So it says right here, this is about Jeff Salingo. Once again, a person who used to work at Chronicle Higher Education as an editor. Said how colleges manage admissions in 2025, 2026. I'm so glad I don't work in admissions now. I used to try to work in admissions. It was between student affairs I was going to be in. I'm kind of glad. So twice in the last 2 decades, higher ed has faced an unforeseen crisis. And let me send this to you all while I'm doing this. Put this in the chat for anybody who comes in after G leaves. So as I was saying, the Great Recession in 2008, higher ed has faced an unforeseen crisis. The Great Recession in 2008 and the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Each one, it feels pretty good to be part of history a little bit. Each one resulted in admission offices upending long-held practices to protect their yield. The percentages of accepted students who enroll, as I recounted in Who Gets In and Not, selective colleges expanded early decision in 2008 to lock in more of their incoming class in the face of financial uncertainty. Then in 2020, many of the same colleges went test optional in an effort to maintain their application numbers. which of course ended up skyrocketing even more. Yeah, because once you took away the testing, shoot, yeah, you're gonna have more students going to college because a lot of people really, for one, that was a barrier. They even said like some people told me, peers of mine personally said like they only could afford to take the test like one time, like SATs, ACTs. They couldn't afford to take the test multiple times. And so I know at my school, because we were like, low income Title One school, we got a free waiver to take the SAT and the ACT. And guys, I don't want to tell you my SAT score was a 990, and then my ACT, I don't even think that was, if I ain't even cracked double digits on that, I'd be surprised. But all I know is, just know this: when I walked in for my ACT, I didn't even have a calculator. Just know that. So you already know how that went. And then it says right here in 2020, yeah, we just said that. Now, with campuses unsure how many international students will show up this fall, and with research budgets getting squeezed, universities are looking everywhere for revenue. Everywhere for revenue. They're looking everywhere. That's what Jeff Selingo said. They're looking everywhere for revenue, as they should. And then we started to see that in the last few months as some top ranked colleges called students off their wait list. Now that's crazy. I never heard of schools calling students off their wait list. Usually when the school puts you on a wait list, it's done. There's just a fancy way of saying like we don't really need you, but instead of saying you didn't get in so you don't get mad, we'll just put you on a wait list. And so they call students off their wait list well into May and June this year. This May and June that just passed in 2025. This year in order to bolster their incoming class. If you are a selective college protecting your yield rate, now I don't even know what a yield rate in higher education is, which it brings me more joy because in the future we could definitely ask somebody on here to talk about that. Because, guys, once again, I am not a financial expert or financial advisor, and they have these yield rates in higher education that we just really have to understand. But how can we understand it? We got to do a little context research ourselves. So we got to make sure we don't get nobody on here who trying to pull our teeth a little bit and give us the wrong information. We got to know a little bit who can stretch us and give us a lot more. So protecting your year rate is critical to maintaining your selectivity. Otherwise, you will need to accept more students to maintain your enrollment. In a sneak peek from Dream School, the graphic below shows how yield rates have fallen off a cliff for all but most selected schools. So, guys, right now I'm going to look up yield rate because that's my third time seeing it. When I see something 3 times, I pause and I go look it up on Google before I keep going. Because if I see it that many times, I can't just keep talking and not have an idea about it. So, and I got some other things up too that I need to have up right now. Computer going pretty fast, guys. Yeah, year rate in college. So, according to AI, don't know how true this is, a college yield rate is the percentage of admitted students who actually enroll at an institution. I didn't know they called it that. It's calculated by dividing the number of enrolled students by the number of accepted students and multiplying by 100. For example, if a college admits 1,000 students and enrolls 500, the year rate is 50%. That's dope. That is dope. That is dope. Because remember, when you're admitted, that don't mean you go to the school. That just means you got an option. Like, okay, I got such and such over here, and I got such and such over there. I got such and such in the middle. So, like, right there, it's like every school in that case has like each school probably on the 100% scale. They just say it's 4 of them. Each school has a 25% chance of getting you to attend actually enrolling and attending their institution. So it puts the favor. That's what they're trying to do with the early decision, so they can knock them off. So if you pick one of them, you knock off the rest of them, which gives the school a 100% chance of what? Getting you to come to their school. That's why with schools like Furman University, if I'm not mistaken, Furman University, what is it? That's why schools like Furman, where's Furman? I just saw Furman. Yeah, that's why schools like Furman University was like, look, you can get early access to our dorms. You can get early access to this. You can get early access to that. And it's like, what about the discount? What the college discount at? When y'all gonna start saying scholarship and just say, look, we'll give you a discount? You know, where that? You know, where that? So, one way to protect the yield, as we go to the next section, they said one way to protect the yield is leaning into early decision. As we just said last week, the University of Michigan announced plans to add early decision. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So Michigan thinks it's better to lock in as many applicants as possible early on, especially given many of them would be full payout staters. They said especially given many of them will be full payout staters. So out of staters is exactly what I tell people what not to do when going to college. Don't go to college out of state. That is one of the worst things you could do in a nice way. Going to school out of state, if you're going to an institution and you're considered out of state, you're paying literally double or 3x the money to go there. And I don't think you should go to a school that's 3x or 2x the money unless they're going to give you 3x or 2x returns on your investment of going to or purchasing and investing in the school and your salary. Personally, because I don't know why otherwise you shouldn't be going to school because, oh, it's such and such. You should go to school because they're going to give you a great job or a great return on your investment. Some schools specialize in a major. So you went to that school that most people say is trash, but they specifically are good at this major. That's why you went there. That should be the reason why you go to a school. Not because they're, I don't know, that school that so everybody so-called think is good when they don't know the facts about the school or the history of the school. So as we keep going, where we at? It says, as schools further upstream, like in Michigan, try to protect their yield, campuses downstream in the rankings will get caught in the wake. Prime example, Syracuse. Remember we talked about Syracuse earlier. Syracuse University. They said prime example. Jeff Salingo said prime example. Syracuse throwing money at high school seniors in May who are already committed elsewhere. So like, look, Syracuse is like, we don't have enough enrollment, so we can splurge a little bit on students, regular students, not athletes, students. Because why? Students, if you get, I'm wondering what type of students they did that to. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I wonder if it was more like students who was going to be paying federally more or students who had wealthy pockets more. So that is something to keep in mind. And I remember that. It was real. That's really late for a school. Like, you got to think a kid got to move. A kid got to already be, like, getting situated. Like, to say, like, hey, in May, because we talked about one of the parents was like, hey, you need to give us a little more money because my daughter was already getting ready to go to a school in California, USC, the Orange and the Trojans. They were getting ready to go to the Trojan school already. So the haves and the have-nots and the missions. Year rates, a truer gauge or truer gauge. I'm gonna say gauge. Let me see. Right quick. G-A-U-G. See the definition.
Gauge.
Yeah, gauge. So, because I need to keep that up. Year rates in college. That's like a college terminology. Didn't even know what a year rate was. So, just a lingo. A truer gauge of popularity than acceptance rates when students have multiple options, have plummeted at all but the most selective schools. This is by, Jeff pulled the source from the U.S. Department of Education, National Center of Education Statistics, which is and then under subcategory iPads. Remember, that is where you get very credible data, and that's where Jeff got that's what Jeff got his data from. So they're showing the year rate, then they're showing, I wish I could see this, then they're showing the under the 20% admissions rate, then the 20% to 40% admissions rate, and then the above 80%. And then it starts from 2001 till 2023. And so It's showing that admissions rate 40 to 60%, 60 to 80%, above 80%. That's interesting. But it's definitely like it's on the downtrend. And then one of them is an uptrend. I believe they're not even did they categorize like what's this line under 20%? That is I don't know which one that is, so I'm not gonna say it. I don't think they categorize the lines. So what is the next wave of consolidation looks like? 6 public colleges and universities in Indiana eliminated or combined more than 400 academic programs this month before a new state looks. I think they're talking about something else now. All right. So Jeff also talked about when will colleges rethink tuition pricing? That is probably a topic I might just have to go off of after I finish the early decision admissions. I'm probably gonna do that before the UCLA 1 billion. I don't think the UCLA 1 billion is really a long story. We're going to talk about that by Jeff Salingo. Jeff Salingo has some very good credible information. We're going to have to not subscribe, but check out at Jeff Salingo to my information. So I'm going to keep it there. Let's go to the next section in it. So I said, I remember Furman right here. They're talking about double-edged sword. All right. To be sure, federal funding and selectivity have always been double-edged swords. Government support for research comes with strings attached. I think they're talking about the research in here because it's a lot of research. So I'm gonna go. I said I was gonna work a little backwards, so I'm gonna go back up. It says right here that it says these colleges' long-standing sources of strength look more and more like weaknesses, especially after President Trump took yet another crack at reshaping the Ivies Plus market in his own image on Thursday. So, federal research approach. The government has become an unreliable partner instead of the bedrock funding source it once was. Colleges scrambled in court to block research funding cuts. That means they were trying to prevent research funding cuts from happening. But I don't think they succeeded. Let's keep going. Colleges scrambled in court to block research funding cuts and claw back some canceled grants. Only for the White House to issue an executive order on Thursday. Let's see what the executive order is. I don't know if I read this one. They said only for the White House to issue an executive order on Thursday that placed political appointees in charge of federal grant decisions, block agencies from making new funding announcements until those appointees are in place, and gave preference to colleges that charge less for indirect research costs. The Council on Government Relations warned that the other sideline scientific merit. The Council on Governmental Relations warned that the order, I quote, sidelines scientific merit. So let's go check that out. It's on the whitehouse.gov again. So it's credible. This happened August 7th. I don't think we covered this. Did we cover this? I don't think we covered this. So once again, it's a long executive order typically. And on one of my sources, I could go look this up, I believe. But what is this called? It's called Improving Oversight of Federal Grant Making. So by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and to improve the process of federal grant making while ending offensive waste of tax dollars, it is hereby ordered. I'm going to read the first section. This is section 1, the purpose. Every tax dollar, for all my tax people, political people out there, hey, this is for you all. I'm doing a lot of reading off screen today right now. Every tax dollar the government spends should improve American lives or advance American interests. This often does not happen. Federal grants have funded drag shows? What? I kid you not. This often does not happen. They say right here, federal grants have funded drag shows in Ecuador. Trained doctoral candidates in critical race theory. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm about to read this. Didn't expect that guy to say that. I was like, oh, whoa, what? Yeah, like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna put that in. I am gonna put that in the. I put that in the chat. I put it in the chat. I quote this on the WhiteHouse.gov. So according to the WhiteHouse.gov, they said federal grants have funded drag shows in Ecuador, trained doctoral candidates in critical race theory, and developed transgender sexual education programs. In 2024, one study claimed that more than one quarter of new National Science Foundation grants went to diversity, equity, and inclusion and other far left initiatives. These National Scientific Foundation grants included those to educators that promoted, I don't know that word, but they said, I'm gonna just copy and paste it. Pretty much things that are anti-American, in a short way of saying it. I put that in the chat. And so they say right here is more to it about it harms the Department of the Federal Grants, does not stop the federal grant. It says the harm imposed by problematic federal grants does not stop at propagating absurd ideologies and stuff like that, right? So a lot of other stuff in here that I'm surprised that I even said on the channel because I wasn't even. Oh wow. So then they talk about the terms, like which each term means. So as we go back to what we get our information from, shout out to College Education. So okay. And then it says right here, hyper selective admissions, turning away the vast majority of applicants blustered rankings. Turning away the vast majority of applicants blustered rankings, even as it allowed colleges to choose to enroll at large share of high-paying international students. But the international pipeline is uncertain at best amid the Trump administration crackdowns. Interesting. So right here it said, turn away vast majority of applicants bluster rankings. I'm just reading this, trying to put this together. It said, even as it allowed colleges to choose to enroll a large share of high-paying international students. So what they're saying that, I don't know if they're saying this or that's how it's coming off. They're saying it's coming off as like they're saying that colleges turned away a vast majority of applicants because they didn't have money. And they saying that the colleges turn to more like universities because a lot of international students go to universities. So they're saying that a vast majority of international students were only accepted at these institutions because they had money. Interesting, right? It said, but the international pipeline is uncertain at best amid the Trump administration. And it said, and the Supreme Court supercharged scrutiny of exactly who gets in with its 2023 ban on the consideration of race. It says on Thursday, the Trump administration took the next step, moving to pry from colleges more information about applicants' race, test scores, and grades. It said, will institutions be accused of illegal discrimination simply for admitting more students of color? Question mark. Asked Will Dale Pillar, Senior Vice President of Education Trust. So I'm going to go to the article. It says new international enrollments could decline by 1/3. And this is July 30th. This is a very recent article by Karen Fisker. Latitudes, foreign student enrollments. It says foreign student enrollments could nosedive this fall. Yeah, so nosedive. It's gonna be so international enrollments are about to be very bearish in how they say in the investment world. It's gonna be very bearish, and when I hear nosedive, that means it's gonna look like a nose as it go down, like my nose. You see my nose? Nosedive down. So yeah, my nose like is going down. Beep, and maybe it could go, or it might just go down. So it says right here, severe backlogs could prevent 150,000 international students from getting visas in the time to start the fall semester. An estimated 30 to 40% drop in new foreign enrollments. It says that would be on par with precipitous declines in 2020 when the pandemic closed borders and halted travel. Much of this year's fall off is attributable to the 3 week halt in the scheduling of student visa interviews during the busiest time of the year for student applicants, as well as to changes in the visa policy and practices since President Trump's office. Total international enrollments could decrease by 15%. Total international enrollments could decrease by 15%, according to projections by NASFA, which is like the National Association for, not for, but National Association of Financial Student Aid, I believe. I'm on my phone. NASFA, I believe that's what NASFA stands for. Oh, is that it? No, it didn't say it. And I want to make sure I tell y'all that while I'm on the screen. Let me see. Learning. So it says right here, NASFA stands for Association of International Educators. Is that really? It says it was initially founded in 1948 as National Association of Foreign Student Advisors. That's what it is. Okay. So it's not financial aid. Good. The Association of International Educators and blah, blah, blah. International Educators and JP International. It said which conducts international education research and helps colleges manage their global work. The result could be nearly $7 billion in lost revenue. It says NASFA is urging the U.S. Department of State to provide expedited appointments and visa processing for applicants for student and scholar visas. The State Department suspended student visa interviews beginning in late May and throughout much of June in order to put in place a new policy for vetting the online activity of prospective foreign students. Students and colleges have reported scheduling difficulties since interviews were restarted. Of course, higher education already does not use. I'll repeat, higher education is already well behind in using technology. Like, they're not like a tech company. They're doing some higher ed colleges are still doing paper filing. Like, that's how behind they are. So when you do that, when that little move right there, that restart, like canceling or halted international interviews, put a big pause on everything. So as we keep going, as we got the context a little bit now, it seems like it's merged together. About higher ed. What was it? About the antitrust lawsuit challenges and early decision programs. So much information to cover. But I'm going to say I really think that's all to it. I want to see if there's more before I go on to the next one that I saw from Jeff Salingo. Right. So I'm gonna read this. It says, to be sure, federal funding and selectivity have always been double-edged swords. Government support for research comes with strings attached, and in 1980s and 1990s, invited congregational scrutiny into professors' conduct and spending habits. Selectivity invites scandal. No matter who is in office, as evidenced by the Varsity Blues admission cases and a 2022 class action lawsuit that accused highly selective colleges of conspiracy to inflate prices. Both colleges were not ready for politics to turn so sharply against this model, particularly after federal healthcare funding fueled an eds and meds boom that supported formal industrial economies. About 20 metaversities, about 20 metaversities, if I said that right, have grown into research powerhouses because of federally supported health related operations. John R. Thielen and Neil H. Hutchins recently wrote in the Chronicle Review. It says, we find scant indication that university leaders discussed the possibility that political support might ever wane, compromise in funding. Thielen and Hutchins wrote. The model next, it says the model is next test comes in California. With its selective public research powerhouses, Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, has vowed institutions like the University of California, of California at Los Angeles, UCLA, won't make the same concessions as Brown and Columbia universities in order to reclaim federal research funding. Wonder what that means. Said they won't make the same. Same concessions. It says right here, I think they're quoting Governor Newsom. Yeah. So Governor Newsom said, I will do everything in my power to encourage them to do the right thing and not to become another law firm that bends on their knees. Another company that sells their soul, or another institution that takes a shortcut and takes the easy wrong versus the hard right. He said, I'll read that again. Another company that sells their soul, or another institution that takes a shortcut and takes the easy wrong versus the hard right. Newsom said last week. That's how he said it. This isn't just about a handful of research powerhouses that don't educate the vast majority of American college students. This isn't just about a handful of research powerhouses that do not educate the vast majority of American college students or employ most faculty members. The norms and values established today at the most prominent institutions will trickle out to the rest of the sector. The bigger question, is this a fatal blow to the selective research model, or just a shift in who chooses its beneficiaries? That's interesting. I really don't know. Highly selective university. So pretty much highly selective is just like schools that are more likely to be picked, right? Like, as they said. But as we said, the common pattern though, all these schools that have been getting attacked are very much like liberal arts schools. They're considered left-wing schools. Like I said, some schools are heavily Republican apparently, and some schools are heavily Democrat, left and right. I didn't know that, but they are. And so, once again, guys, I'm not even going to sit here to tell you that I knew that, because I did not know that. Going to college, I just went to college. I didn't know how much politics or influence the politics had on the college curriculum. So, it's very surprising. So, as we keep going, I'm going to go to Jeff Salingo real quick before I talk about the UCLA. $1 billion. So, he said right here, Jeff Salingo said something that I like. I like. When will colleges rethink their tuition pricing? So if you know me, I've been talking about colleges tuition pricing for ever in a day. I always talked about it. Used to be a little hesitant. Now I'm open, like wide open about it. So when will colleges rethink tuition pricing? While students this fall face some of the biggest tuition increases in quite some time, we might also see tuition reductions too. Okay, especially at the graduate level. Okay, so why? The domestic policy bill the president signed this month includes a new annual cap for master degrees of $20,500 on federal loans. Guys, first and foremost, $20,500 for a master's degree. I don't know what school you're going to, but that is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I'm gonna tell you why. I don't spend that much money on my graduate school. My graduate school is like 2,500 per semester. So that means what? And I've been at my graduate school for 2 years. So I probably paid about 5,000, and then 5,000, which is about 10,000 total. Guys, crazy. And I'm doing a higher education major. I don't know what's the difference between, in my career field, I don't really know how much different a higher education degree could be on your master's. I think you could do an undergraduate, but specifically on your master's. Guys, the federal loans, I don't even need 25. I don't even need 2,500. I don't even need $20,500 on federal loans. And then it said, and then right here it said master's degrees, and then I'm gonna read it again. Start annual cap for master's degrees of 20,500 on federal loans, and $100,000 overall cap on professional degrees have higher limits. It also eliminated federal plus loans, as we talked about, for graduate degrees, which is good. I felt like that was good. Which students would stack on top of their federal loans all the way up to the full cost of attendance. Okay. So right there it said it also eliminated the federal plus loans for graduate students, which students would stack on top of their federal loans all the way up to the full cost of attendance. So it says right here, as Ryan Craig pointed out last week, the net price paid by master's students more than doubled in 20 years. Before Grad Plus, the average master's student who tapped federal loans took on debt of $33K. Now it's over $70K. Now that's bullcrap. I didn't tap in that much. Now, if they have to clarify that, they have to say, like, most of them are either, like, you got to either be, like, remember we always talk about, you either got to be medical school, law school, you got to be in those type of ranges to be doing that. I did not do that. I went to a graduate school I could afford. I laid a budget out, as most grown-ups should do. When you're getting a graduate degree, you're a grown-up. Undergraduate, you're a grown-up, but you're still like most undergraduate students. If I'm showing sympathy, most undergraduate students are not grown-ups. They want to be grown-ups, but they're not grown-ups. They're not taking the time. College students and undergraduate are not taking the time to lay out a budget, and the school is not even teaching them. Not high school, college. They're not even teaching them to lay a budget out. They're not teaching them. You need to be prepared for graduate school, because graduate school is only going to get higher. It gets higher as you go higher. As you get your undergraduate, bachelor's, as you get your associates. That's why I say start at 2 year, because 2 years are affordable. And then when you get your degree at a 2 year, you're going to bridge to a 4 year. Every 4 year is going to be more than your 2 year, unless you go to a state school that has similar prices to your 2 year. Then you're going to get affordable prices at that state/university. Most 4 years are going to be higher. Then after you get your 4 year degree, if you're done, you're done. You're good. This don't apply to you. Got you. But if you're going to get the graduate degree of some sort, like we already said, med and law school, you gotta pay. You're paying 6 figures or more. Then for my people, if you're doing a regular graduate school like me, you have no excuse why you should not get a debt-free degree. There's too many options why you should not get one or strive for one. The most you should come out with in graduate school, or honestly in college, I feel like undergraduate, you should definitely get a debt-free degree. You should. Graduate school, you should definitely come out with maybe 5,000 less. If you really just can't keep up, you should come out with 5,000 less. Every person in graduate school should be working. Unless they can't work, you should be working. Me, I'm in a regular graduate school. I can work full time. If you like in a big boy graduate school, like law school, med school, it's hard for you to work. Truly, it really is. It should be better accommodation for people who are doing like law school, like law school and med school, those type of schools. It needs to be better structure on that. That has a lot of work to do. Has a lot of work to do. Regular show. So as we keep going, it says right here, while graduate schools only enroll 15% of student loan borrowers, 40% of outstanding student loan debt comes from graduate school. With the, that's a word, speak it? Oh, wow. So I'm gonna just say with the, I'm gonna look up that word. I probably will never see this word again, but since they used it in such a manner, let's see real quick, guys. All right, quick.
Spigot.
That is how you say that, spigot. So with this spigot of easy money tightening, we have probably seen the end of the $150,000 MFA. I don't know what that is. The MFA from the University of Southern California. The $125,000 master. Oh, I guess Master of Fine Arts. So I guess we have probably seen the end of the $150,000 Master of Fine Arts from the University of Southern California. The $125,000 Masters in Journalism from Columbia. Wow, I wish G was here to hear this. And then or the $100,000 Master of Arts and Humanities at the University of Chicago. Either those programs get a massive tuition cut, offer heavy discounts off the sticker price, or some will likely close down altogether. That is what Jeff Salingo is saying. Because people won't have the money to afford that. That's what they're saying. That's what they're speculating. That's what he's saying. Like he said, while graduate schools only enroll 15% of student loan borrowers, 40% of outstanding debt. He said 40% of outstanding student loan debt comes from graduate school. But I'm be honest with you guys. As we say, some of these schools offer some type of education that people are willing to pay $100,000 for a Master of Fine Arts. Some people are willing to pay $150,000 for $125,000 at $125,000 masters in journalism. They gonna have to come. I hope this forces them to drop their prices, not close down, but drop their prices, because no matter where the journalism is, no journalism major should be $125,000, guys. No. They can charge their fee, but come on, man. $125,000 for journalism? It's journalism. It's journalism. Is it really that different? Journalism. And the Master of Arts and Humanities at Columbia, my person in my live screen, usually they went there, they will usually justify why Columbia could charge that $100,000, but $100,000, man, for a master's in arts and humanities. Woo, I guess. Bottom line, Jeff said, bottom line, what was unthinkable a year ago as a strategy on many campuses is now on the table as colleges face a near-term future with a lot less money. Yes, near term, which means in the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years, near. So in the near term, in the near future of 3 to 5 years, with a lot less money directed to them and students. Earlier this year in my book, he said, earlier this year in my look ahead, I predicted colleges had time for a reset. He said, I predicted colleges had time for a reset. He said, now they don't. Universities are confronting a financial landscape as challenges as the 2008 recession or the COVID-19 pandemic. But this time, there is no federal safety. There's no federal safety net to soften the blow. Indeed, this administration and Congress have ripped open lots of holes in that net. And as I said before, if anything happens, if a president or somebody or something or anything happens, like a mismanage of something happened with higher education, something like this was gonna happen. Only proof I got is in my college schoolhouse. I wrote papers on it. I got papers on this saying that this is not good, this is not safe. We have been going up. You know, people have been speculating it too. It has been going up for so long. College tuition, they've been going crazy on stadiums, spending money on this and that. The college presidents make millions of dollars. The execs at universities make millions of dollars in some cases. And athletic directors make a lot of money. I can't wait to go back to school this semester. It's a great time to be in college. I'm glad I took my time. Because all I can do is just look at all the people who work at universities and just wonder, like, what is going on at your job and schoolhouse. Because when you enable bad habits instead of taking initiative, once again, in higher education, this is all universities' fault. They took no accountability. Nobody said, look, we should really try to fight and start a union, try to get these prices lowered, make some structure, make some changes. Nobody took initiative. Now everybody who tried to do just do your job, do the minimum, and go by, pass by. Now you ain't gonna have a job to get by and do the minimum on. Now that's the reality, because they wasn't putting the students first. They were not putting the people first. This is a public of service job, and they wasn't doing that. People were working in this career field just to get a good steady income job. This is a passion career field. If you're going to work in this career field, yeah, you can make some money, but at the same time, and a lot of times, some people might not even make that much, but you would think they make a lot because they're passionate about the job. They're passionate about doing research. So this is all on them to figure out now. And we just gonna cover stories, because Jeff ain't far off from what I've been saying. So shout out to Jeff Salingo. If I'm saying Jeff last name right, shout out to Jeff Salingo. And so this is wild. I'm gonna add this to the portfolio. Always staying, and Jeff called it thinking, what is this called? Thinking the unthinkable. Always got to think like that. You always have to think like that. All right, let's go to UCLA. Well, we talked, that was a subcategory conversation I threw in. So I don't think this one gonna be long. Then we'll jump to the last one. Then I'll let y'all go, man. I don't want to be long. So UCLA has $1 billion. I was surprised when I seen that. I seen it when it broke news, but I was like, UCLA got $1 billion. Do UCLA really have $1 billion? Do UCLA really have $1 billion? So the White House is seeking a $1 billion settlement from the University of California at Los Angeles in exchange for unfreezing $584 million in federal funding. Wow, they're hanging that over their head. They're like, look, you give us $1 billion, we'll give you back your $580 million. Let me tell you something crazy about that. I think that's, if not 100, I'm gonna do 90% first. I'm gonna do 584. Yeah, 584 times 90%. Plus 5. Guys, that's easily over 50%. So they want over 50%. So they're charging them an interest of 50% over. They're charging them an interest of over 50% to get $580 million in federal funding back. But they're trying to get the government is trying to get $1 billion out of them. They charging interest of 50% or more. That school's got to be sick right now. And I don't know how they finna get out of it. So, University of California, Los Angeles, in exchange for unfreezing $584 million in federal funding that is in jeopardy over allegations of campus anti-Semitism. Make sure I say it right. I be saying semitism, but I think sentimism, and I don't want to say it wrong.
Anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism. There you go. I say it wrong sometimes, guys. So, allegations of campus anti-Semitism. This would be roughly 5 times. I just said that 5 times. This would be roughly 5 times what Columbia University paid in its own landmark settlement. The University of California System's president called the large sum a non-starter that would devastate the institution. It would. I'm sorry, but your college, or UCLA, your football team ain't generating 1 billion. Not to come back. Not it'll probably take y'all 5 years to generate one. To generate UCLA, it'll take the football team probably 5 years to generate 1 billion. Might take longer than that. Might take 10 years. That's why that university, the University of California system president, that's why they said, look, they called the large sum a non-starter. They said, look, they said, what's the name, man? That college, that University of California system president, University of California system president said, look, hey man, that's gonna devastate the college, man. I don't think we can afford that. Hold on. 1 billion, wait a minute. We can talk it out. So, and that's reported by CNN. That's reported by they sweating over there. Some people finna get laid off. Some people finna get, hey, if you at UCLA, you better get up out of there before it's too late. You better get up out of there. They finna get laid off. If you play it wrong, you might not even get 584 million in federal funding. You might lose that. They might slice it in half if you don't hurry up. They ain't playing with them. Man, it's crazy this happening, man. This is crazy. Wow. All right, let go. Trump administration seeking 1 billion settlement from you. Bro, did UCLA really have 1 billion? Does UCLA have 1 billion to give? Man, I gotta look it up. I got to look it up. Do UCLA even have 1 billion, man? UCLA financial. Because guys, when I start showing you my screen and stuff, then you can see. That's why I haven't been doing it. Financial. I'm gonna go look at a balance sheet. UCLA financial report. It's all public record. So right here is the credible one. Okay, the latest we have UCLA annual financial report. So the latest we have is 2022 to 2023. They haven't even posted 2024 to 2025. So I guess they still working on that because it's going to be the end of 2025. So yeah, they'll probably show that one in January. That'd be from 2024 to 2025. And then we're working from 2025 to 2026 when January hit. So the financial report, I'm about to look at their annual report for 2023, just like I do with companies, guys. I'm not the biggest stock market person, as I said, it's other experts in that area. But this is what I do when I research companies, when I do investments for myself, you know. I go look at the financial reports. Money is money. And so as I'm looking through it, they're not even showing nothing yet. Hold on. Let's see the numbers. I want to see the total. Can I zoom out? Hold on right quick, guys. So, do they got 1 billion? This is in right here saying like the campus and financial highlights. So, and it's in millions. So if I see anything with thousands, that's in billions. So the acres went up from 476 acres to 680 acres. The campus land. So they got more land. Employee count, that's going to be going down. The employee count went up from 2022 to 2023. It went up. That's good. Graduate, interns, and residents went up. But that ain't what we trying to figure out. That's the assets. So they got like 20. Yeah, they got it. They got 1 billion. So they got 20 billion. And usually they have the cash in here when they show this, the assets and liabilities. But right here it says they have 20 billion in assets. And liabilities, they have 21 billion in liabilities. And then right here they said their operating revenue, which I wish y'all could see, is about 9.8. Is this right? Because it's saying in millions. Is y'all really moving money like that? Is y'all really moving money like that? UCLA? Is y'all millions really millions? Because last time I checked, when I checked this should be in billions, if I'm looking at this correct. So it says operating revenue is 9.8. They either billion, I think it's billions. That should be billions. Because all this is in millions. But if it's got commas, it should be billions. Yeah. It's a billion. Operating revenue, 9.8 billion. That jumped up. And so let's keep going. Yeah, that's billion. That's crazy. So where's the total? It's not showing us the total. Let's see. Guys, I'm really looking at this. It's crazy. I really want to look at it. Operating statistics. They talking about licensed bids. They talking about admissions. Let's keep going. They talking about their medical center. Their medical center generates. I don't know. They didn't specify that one. If that's millions or billions. They got a medical center. So yeah, they probably do got billions of dollars. Definitely got billions. They definitely got billions. Not might, they do. So right here they say the campus financial position. The university implemented a new accounting standard. They're going off of the Government Accounting Standard Board, the GASB. Okay. Bro, I think the school just has. They're in the negatives. They're in the negatives. At least it says right here in 2021 they were 336 net. They had 336 million. They netted 336 million. In 2021, 2022, they went to 1.4 billion in net position, negative 1.4 billion. Then in 2023, they dropped it down to 1.2 billion. In negative though. It was negative. Yeah, billions. I was right. This is all billions. Yeah. See, man, I know what I'm talking about. I ain't know though, because I ain't know if higher education did they little accounting stuff different. Like, they come up with magical. Accounting is accounting. I took it for a reason, but just had to make sure because they'll be doing something completely different. So, yeah, they got a billion, I think. If they have it in cash, that's the real question. I'm trying to find their cash. Let me type it in, guys. Let me see. Control F. Let me see if they got cash in here. Do they have the cash on hand? That's what we want to know. Do they have the cash on hand? I don't even see the highlight. There you go. They got a whole bunch of words in here that got cash in it. So I'm not going to hold y'all up on that. But I wish I could show y'all this. I can't wait to show y'all this, actually. I'm not saying I wish. I am going to be able to show y'all this soon. So then y'all can see this. Like, this is their net position. Like, this is literally what I do with companies and doing the same thing. And they don't look like they're in the positives. It don't look like it. I'm just scanning through. So, but I see a lot of negativity. I see those parentheses. I see a lot of negativity. And, yeah, so I see why the California system person said that this will put the school in jeopardy. The University of California system president said this will devastate the school. Had them shutting down programs, laying people off. It's gonna be some dark times at the University of California. Not a good time to work at universities. So I did want to talk about that, and hopefully I did pretty good talking about it. They have $1 billion. I just don't think they have $1 billion on hand. Let me say that. I think they're gonna need some loaning. They're gonna have to get some loans. But they ain't gonna. I don't know where they're gonna get the money from because they not gonna be able to get it from the government. Usually the government help you, so they might have to get it from where? the state. They might have to get it from the state. It might take the city and the state of California to bail them out. That's what it might take. And I said that. All right, so let's go to not education. I'm about to read the other. That's an old one. Liberal arts is undervalued. Liberal arts is undervalued, guys. So apparently, where we at? We are at an hour and 9. I like it. I used to keeping y'all on here for a long time. We covering these stories. It's a lot more stories to cover, but gotta go where my engagement at. So people making noise outside. So petitioners urge reconsideration of program cuts. They're urging that, guys, like reconsideration. So what does that mean exactly, right? They're urging to reconsider that. Alumni, students, and faculty members worry about the future of humanities at Monmouth College in Illinois, if I said that right. As the liberal arts institution moves to phase out 10 majors. And what are those 10 majors they're phasing out? The one of the 10, or 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 10 is history, anthropology. If I said it right, I think it's anthropology. What is anthropology? First and foremost, let me not sound ignorant. What is anthropology? Anthropology. That's how you say it. Anthropology. So the study of human societies and cultures and their development. That sounds very interesting. It's definitely in the liberal arts area, because that's what I'm talking about this. So including history, anthropology, philosophy, and religious studies. College leaders say they reviewed demand and will be able to invest in other majors. Guys, real quick. With the way the future is going, I don't think schools should cut the liberal arts, at least not all of them. You can probably cut half of them, but not all of them. With the way AI is going, we need liberal arts. If not, we learned anything, our past president, or not last, but the one before that, Obama, actually went to a liberal arts institution. That's why he was perceived very intelligent, very good at communication skills. I always use Obama because Obama understands and has when I was younger, I thought everybody had this type of awareness, but everybody doesn't. Obama was very aware of others' cultures, mindsets, understandings, and at the end of the day, after sitting down thinking about it, it makes the ultimate decision. And so that's not in every person. Every person, I'm gonna tell you, the average person, guys, especially people nowadays who don't believe in college, the average person thinks only one way and about themselves. When in reality, not saying every person, but more people should think as if there's 5 people. They should think as like different layers and perspectives of what somebody is trying to present and say. And I'm not coming off as an expert. I'm just coming off as that's how it's supposed to be. That's why your therapist goes to school to understand, like, so many people come into their office, right? Your therapist. So many people come into their office with different perspectives and mindsets that they have to study the psychology of the mind so much because they have to see everything from everybody else's lens. That's why everybody loves talking to a therapist or explaining their problems to a therapist, because a therapist understands, right? How do they understand? They went to college, they read numerous articles on different perspectives and different people, and then they never ran into a person with that different type of perspective. Guess what? That's where they do their research overnight, and they go read on something similar to the behaviors you were showing. And so it seemed like it flows together, but I'm not an expert therapist. That's why we're going to get a therapist on here one day. They can tell you. So the breakdown of how it goes in college and break down like why you should go. but everybody don't want to get a PhD. So, right here, I went to the website. This was posted by NPR Network. And they've been on the chopping block too. It says right here, it's quiet at Monmouth College, if I said it right, Monmouth College in early August, except for the occasional buzzing of a lawnmower and bird song singing, a bird song ringing from towering oaks on the front lawn of Wallace Hall. It says soon there will be other sounds at the home of the Fighting Scots, a private liberal arts college founded in 1853 by Scottish Irish I seen this word before, I just don't know how to pronounce it. Pre-Samaritans, I think. That's how you say it, pre-Samaritans.
Presbyterian.
So, yeah, that's by them. Let's keep going. Bagpipes, football practice, and students moving into their residence halls. It says this year's incoming class will have around 40 more students than last year, which is good, with a couple dozen of them coming into my mouth for a brand new 3+1 nursing program, which is dope. Okay, shout out to Monmouth. They have a brand new 3+1 nursing program in collaboration with OSF Healthcare. I don't know what that is. Some people might know. And more than 60% of this year's class come into Monmouth as a Division III student athletics. Right here it says Monmouth President Patricia Dre said the college would like to see enrollment reach the high 800s in the next 3 or 4 years, with slow, controlled growth of an additional 50 students per year. Okay. They said we are trying to be realistic, which a lot of higher education institutions don't do. We are trying to be realistic too, Dre said, because it's easy to put a number on a spreadsheet and say, okay, we can do this, but in a declining demographic, what is realistic? So let's get to the part we're talking about. And it's right there. Against the backdrop, Monmouth is phasing out 10. Let me make sure I'm saying this right, because Monmouth, if I'm saying this wrong, then we got a problem. I don't think I'm saying it wrong, though. Monmouth. So, Monmouth. I've been saying Monmouth. Monmouth. So it said, against that backdrop, Monmouth is phasing out 10 majors, primarily in the humanities and social sciences, and enhancing their programs, and enhancing other programs based on student interest and market demand. Okay. Following a months-long academic program prioritization process, 6 faculty positions are being eliminated as part of the academic restructuring. Dre said these changes were not implemented to eliminate a predetermined amount of money from the operating budget, and she said the changes do not mean that Monmouth College is closing. It says, but the academic prioritization process is meant to align expenses and revenue and to strategically allocate resources for a college long-term health. Sounds like she's putting the school first and the students first, which is pretty good. Really good. Most schools don't do that. They put themselves. Usually it's the president trying to get their money grab, and execs get their money grab. So schools that are not doing this work are trying to kick the can down the road. It's going to catch up to them, Dre said. So right here she said the president Dre said, I think they said she, that's why I said that. Let's keep going. Changing interest. Dres is a cancer researcher who taught chemistry at Monmouth from 2002 to 2006. When enrollment was growing, reaching 1,379 students in 2009. More recently, enrollment at Monmouth has been lower in the 700s. They've been dropping bad. Driven in part by what Dres calls non-consumers of higher education. Over the last 10 years, we have not seen anything like this. Just the number of students not going to college at all, Dre said. Dre said students' needs and interests are changing too. She said millennials wanted new dorms and climbing walls and fancy food in the cafeteria. But current college students grew up in the aftermath of the '08 recession. They are pragmatic. Pragmatic. Does that mean pragmatic? That's pragmatic. Pragmatic. This is interesting. She blamed the millennials. I don't know who this person is, but they blame the millennials. Let's look up. Monmouth president. What is the name again? Real quick. Patricia Drays. I'm gonna start calling Patricia. All right, good y'all. Yeah. Yeah, Patricia. Yeah, Patricia. Name. Patricia. She said the millennials wanted all that stuff. Didn't we learn anything from millennials and stuff? They wanted fancy cafeteria, fancy dorm, fancy rock climbing. They just was spending money, man. They just messed it up for the younger generation. All they did was spend money. Like they don't have no accountability. They just spent money.
Pragmatic.
Yeah, pragmatic. Dealing with things sensible and realistically. Yes. So yeah, she said, but current college students grew up in the aftermath of the '08 recession. They are pragmatic, socially conscious, and they don't want to go into debt. Yes, we don't want to go in debt. That's why they need to come to speak in our behalf. Started a 2-year bridge to a 4-year. Monmouth, y'all need to get y'all prices right. Because we're going to review y'all school. It's only right to review y'all school. It said right here that Gen Zers care about relationships. They ask about the support. They are aware they need mental health services and development. They don't have that. It's a lack of that on campus. Some schools don't even have mental health. They have, like she said, they have the rock climbing, the fancy dining facility that students don't even go to no more, really. Students don't hang out the dining. Like, depending on the school you at, some schools probably, some students probably do hang out the caf, but I'm going to say they don't. Because I never hanged out in the cafeteria at my school. For one, my 2 year didn't have, it wasn't in a cafeteria. It was more like a lounge, and you can get some food. They bring in a third party. When I went to my university, I ate at the cafeteria. I paid like $6 or $7 while you was paying like $2,000 per semester. I paid like $6 or $7. I was eating as if I needed it. And most of the time I wasn't even eating there because I didn't feel like going all the way on the campus, finding the parking spot, So it said Gen Zers care about relationships. They said Gen Zers care about the mental health services and development. Dre said they are asking for more of those pieces and an environment that offers that. When Mark Willard came back in Monmouth in 2000 to teach in the English department as his father did for 35 years, the college had strongly rebounded from the early 1990s when enrollment dropped to under 600 students. They said we were putting up buildings. Right here, I quote Patricia Dre. She said, no, Willhart said this. Patricia Dre did not say this. Willhart said, we were putting up buildings. We were putting up dorms. The faculty was growing. The student body was beginning to grow. We were putting on programs. Willhart said, and it was not just a Monmouth. It was not just Monmouth. You could see it across all of higher ed. I think most of us didn't look much beyond 2010 to 12 because we figured that it would just keep going that way. So they essentially thought we kept right. The more buildings you put, the more dorms you put, the more you didn't think about the prices, obviously. Willhart said, I guess they didn't think about the prices. They didn't think about generations were going to change. They were not doing research on what on the future generations going to look like. Us, who were coming up, because 2010, 2012, 2010 I was in elementary. 2012 I was probably getting ready for high school or going into middle school, like going to the next year of middle school. And y'all weren't thinking about us, like what it was gonna look like if we, see, you're a victim to what. Hey, do your research. because they figured that it would keep going. You just figured. Didn't say we seen research. You just figured. Okay, figured, and that's why you're gonna figure out this situation. Will Hart became dean of the faculty and vice president for academic affairs in 2018. He said the city of Monmouth has changed, and the college's place in the community has changed over the years too. He also sees generational differences in faculty coming on campus. They are prioritizing living in different ways. So they are choosing a work-life balance that is different than previous generations have done, he said. That means the ways in which we are conceiving of work on campus is changing. More people want work-life balance. I want more work-life balance. And so everything is changing in higher ed. Let's keep going. Voting with their feet. Huh? How are you voting with your feet? Drees became Monmouth College 15th president last year. After 7 years as president of Graceland University in Iowa, prior to that, she was dean and vice president for academic affairs. Okay, context, we know about Patricia Drees. Drees was tasked by the board of trustees. Drees led the academic prioritization task force. Okay, the task force first created guiding principles. Okay, okay. So that's pretty much it. And so now we're gonna do a review on Monmouth College, because Monmouth College is saying, like, I don't know, they're coming off as if they're all that, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Monmouth College seems like they got it figured out, but we're gonna review their college. It's only right. Cool. Ooh, Monmouth College. Hey. Hey. Nope. Back at you. Let me see, guys. Let me see. We are at 1 hour 26. I think by the time I finish it, it'll probably be an hour and 36 minutes. So this is a very good screen. I'm trying to aim for hour 30 minutes on these screens for you. I'm gonna lower it. Where is my? I probably don't have it up. Right here. College Scorecard. Yep. And then Google right here. So Monmouth College, they said, Patricia Drees said Monmouth College said they millennial students wanted fancy dorms. They wanted dining facilities. They wanted fancy stuff. No, they weren't doing no schoolwork. How you on all this stuff ain't doing no schoolwork? That's the problem. How you spell that? I'll just spell it. Monmouth. Should be like, oh, M-O-N. And then E-T-H. That's a very easy school to spell, though. Monmouth College. So, Monmouth College is definitely a liberal arts institution. But yeah, that's Monmouth College. Real quick before I start that, I meant to say that. Yeah, they said they was gonna cut a few of those programs, and they shouldn't really cut those programs, man. Like history, I guess they said they was gonna base it off of the demand of their students, which is pretty good. But like I said, you never with the if I was them, and I hope they see this. If I was Monmouth College, I would really consider the fact that AI is coming. So I would really be careful. I know the whole school is a liberal arts institution, but I would really be careful before cutting some of those programs, because with the way AI is going, you might need some of them. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say I'm right, but you might need some of them. But y'all know what y'all doing. I hope, because we finna look at y'all prices. So Monmouth College, it is in Monmouth, Illinois. Yeah, Illinois. Monmouth, Illinois. And I'm finna look them up here on the College Scorecard. And we finna do our review so y'all can go. Are they private? Yeah, they private, so I know they price is probably a little steep. Tuition and fees. Yowza. All right. So they putting in here that you get a discount. But you know me, I do the flat sticker price before I get into all that, because that's misleading. Saying that you can do sticker price versus out of pocket costs on their website. From my experience, guys, I always say, look, if you do get financial aid, before I get started, if you do get financial aid, that's good. It do help with a discount, but I can't guarantee you what your financial aid package will be, which is one of the reasons why I tell you the flat sticker price. And so if you still decide to apply to the school, you know, then you can have a chance at getting a discount with your financial aid or your scholarships or whatever resource you plan on using for college, right? So I give you the sticker price and I'll let you decide. And I give you my perspective on it, right? Okay. So, perfect. So, Monmouth College has about 725 undergraduate students. They're a 4-year. They're private. They are a private nonprofit institution. They're in a town. They're small. And it looks like nothing on this map either there while I'm looking at them. So they are we just said this word. It's a church school. I'm gonna say it.
Presbyterian.
It's a Presbyterian church school in the United States. So they have a graduation rate of, according to the College Scorecard, they have a graduation rate of 59%. That's slightly over the 58% by 1%. The average annual cost to go here, like I said, the College Scorecard is probably factoring in if you get financial aid. So the College Scorecard is saying that you're going to be looking at a average annual cost of $18,000, right? That's what the College Scorecard. And so that's right below the $19,740. That's actually below. I look like that's a good thing in our eyes. But if I go over here to the school website, I'm on Monmouth College school website. Of course, when I clip this up, I will put it in the YouTube description. I will put it in our description. And so right here, they have like, I wish I could show you guys, they have the sticker price versus out of pocket costs. So they're pretty much saying like if your average household income is $0 to $50,000, they said the range of gift dollars from all sources, potentially, if you get federal, state, and Monmouth College, you could potentially get $39,000 to $53,000, right? And they said the average total gift dollars from all sources, you can get about $43,000 rounded. And so it says the average discount as a percentage of tuition would be like 96.1%. I'm glad they put that on there. That's better help in showing you like what your potential financial aid package could be. That's what it's going off of. But guys, as I go through this, on the lowest end for you guys, so I'm gonna go with, on the lowest end, if your family makes $0 to $50,000 a year, as I just said, on the lowest end, according to them, you can make on the average, potentially average, $43,000, right? Keep that in mind. The 2024-2025 academic year, tuition alone is going to cost you $44,000 for the year. Now, we have to split, they said for the year, so which means you have to split that by 2. Which means that 44,000, I'm going to just say 45. Keep it simple, so I don't confuse you. So 45 divided by 2 is 22,500. They're saying on the low end, if you get 0 to 50,000 as an average house income, that they can potentially give you 43,000 for the year. So if you do that 43 and divide it by 2, pretty much your schooling is almost paid for. Almost. It's almost paid for. That's like 22. That's like 20-ish, 21-ish plus 21-ish, which gives you what, 42,000. So you get like 21,000. But overall, rounded, you looking at 22,500 in tuition alone. But if you start at this school and you go on if you stay on campus, that's an additional 6,000 divided by 2. That's 3,000 pretty much for the year. The meal plan is 5,000 for the year. Same concept, guys. If you stay on campus, your financial aid, if you are the household if you're the household with the lowest income amount, you're looking at still paying out of pocket. That's why I feel like the College Scorecard is showing like, look, you're looking at average annual cost of 18,000, even though they're saying on the lowest end, if you are the lowest end, you can get this much money from combined all. But all of this is not combined with what so many factors happening with the federal right now, with the federal government, which is financial aid, which is the Department of Education. So much going on with that. You never know what the state might be allocating. We talk about that. And you don't know what Monmouth College might give you because they have to give this to multiple students. That's why I say, guys, look at the sticker price. If you don't have $44,000 or $45,000 yourself, really you don't need that. You need more than that because this is by year. So you really need to have a net worth easily of, if I'm being realistic with you all, 45,000. If you graduate in 4 years, 45,000 times 4. You need at least $180,000 net worth. You need easily $180,000 of net worth, I feel like, before you attend this institution. Because the worst thing that can happen, and this school is a private, this is a private
Presbyterian.
This is a private Presbyterian school. So what that means is, guys, if you go here like your first 2 years and you like, man, it's cost me too much, I don't got that much. Guys, let me tell you, you are potentially looking at, what I was gonna say, you are potentially looking at your credits not transferring. And that's gonna be a problem for you. Because if you do 2 years at this school and you try to go somewhere else, the credits might not transfer as easy. Because for one, they're private. For two, they're private and it depends on the accreditation. And two, they are a church school. And they can be teaching history different. They could be teaching their philosophy different. They could be teaching their math and their science. They could be teaching everything different. And the school would feel like, look, that you didn't really take a real math or a real English or a real history. That's a big deal at schools. What, when you're transferring, remember we talk about this. These little things can save you what? Time and money. These are very important things. So that's why I once again, just to close out with the money, the tuition. That's why I always go off the tuition. I never depended on the institution for money. I never depended on the state for money. I never depended on the federal government for money. I never depended on the school for money. Because at any moment of time, like with the current administration, all that can be taken away. That's why I don't do that. That's why I don't depend on them. So if I see $45,000 you charging that, and I'm like, I never heard of this school, I never heard of them until now, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Because just like marketing, they probably paid to be in that NPR article. just to get some traction and attention to the school. So, with that being said, I don't know. I don't think the school is worth 45,000. Let's keep going, because according to the College Scorecard, they're saying that look, you can make a salary of 51,000 if you go here. I'm gonna be honest with you, 51,000. I got that at my little Division II Valdosta State University. I got that there, and I didn't pay no $45,000 a year. You heard me? I wasn't paying that a year. My mom didn't have to worry. My dad didn't have to worry about that. These schools try to psych you out on things when it really, if you gonna give me 51,000, I could just go to a 2-year bridge to a 4-year and call it a day. If that's the case, you ask my eyes. If that's the case, so look, you paying 45,000. Remember, I said 45,000 for 4 years. If you graduate in 4 years, that's $180,000 you got to spend if you don't have the resources. For my people out there, if you don't have the resources, right? So that's 180,000. You're gonna spend 180,000 to potentially make in 10 years to potentially make 51,000 or more or under. Let's play this game right, y'all. Let's play this game right. So as we keep going, I'm just saying, I'm just breaking the numbers down in perspective. This is what's on the College Scorecard. If they want to redeem themselves, they can call us. So the graduation and retention rate, I said their graduation rate was 59%. Students who return after their first year is 73%. That's a C. 59%, that's an F to me. On a 100% scale, that's an F, that's a C. They're not looking good right now. The financial aid and debt, they said the average student is going to have $27,000 in debt after graduating on average. They're going to have $27,000 in debt. 70%, this is very high. It's a C average, not in a good way. Students receiving federal loans is 73%. And with the recent changes with the Grad Plus loans and all these other things getting capped out or taken away, 73% of students getting loans is like, yeah, they're expensive. That's almost 100% of their students. That's almost 75% of their students. That's almost a third of their students on the 100% scale. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm locked in. So, real quick, percentage earnings. The percentage earning. So you got a 75% chance, pretty good. You got a 75. It's high. You got a 75% chance of earning more than a high school graduate. And then we already talked about the median earnings. And guys, lastly, Monmouth College has an acceptance rate of 87%. Why? Because they need students. Who want to go to this school? Who want to pay this school? When the president said they're restructuring things, not because, oh, the school is getting ready to close down. I don't think they're getting ready to close down now, but I think in the near future, if they don't turn things around, they will be on the chopping block in the near future. I do think so. Monmouth College, I do think so. Because they have how does a private school have an 87% acceptance rate? That's crazy. You're private. You're supposed to have you're supposed to have a lower acceptance rate. At least the ones I looked at. And so they said they don't require the SAT, ACT. Why? Because they need people to go there. So where do I rank this school? I rank Monmouth College. I rank them a F personally. I really don't know who went to this school. Let me go look. Maybe they're F right now. But if I see a celebrity, I guess, or somebody who's a, like, oh, they went to this school, then we'll probably bump them up to a D. They say James Bond Stockdale went to this school. Helen Wagner, James Bond. I'm thinking James Bond the actor. He was a United States Navy Vice Admiral and aviator. He was a high-ranking soldier, patriotic. So, but that he graduated in. When he graduated from college, he graduated it's not saying, but to put things in perspective, they give us a look up. He was born 1923. So I'm gonna just put it right there. So 1923. So they haven't really been hitting on nothing since. Yeah. So they're IF. So yeah, Mama College is an IF. Appreciate the live screen with you all, man. Appreciate everybody that stopped by, even for a little bit. We're gonna be here tomorrow, strong, ready to go. What's tomorrow? Yeah, we're gonna be here tomorrow, ready to go. And yeah. So peace, chicken grease, watch, screen, click me if you want, and tell everybody. Let's go, man. I'm telling you, different information out here.